Welcome back. I'm so excited for this episode. Today I am joined by creative director, artist, mixed media artist, that is, philanthropist. She's an amazing soul, one of the most beautiful people you'll ever meet, Zia Van Lux from Mark One Media. What's up, Zia? It's been a while. How you been?
Wow, what an intro.
From A to Z, it's plain to see. This podcast is. I hope you've been good. You are one of the most memorable souls that I've ever met on my journey, and I want to get the people to know a bit more about you.
Wow. All right, thank you. That the description you gave me, I've never received before, so it's very interesting that you gave me that description. But thank you. Like as philanthropist, I don't consider myself that, but I do try to be more active and engaged than the system we have grown up in teaches us to be.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that a bit later on. But first, I want to know a bit about your upbringing and what made you into this amazing human being that you are now. Before the ad world, before you even went to big school or any of that, what was a young Zia like? What was your upbringing like?
Wow, I had a very extremely different upbringing, I think. I was raised in hotels. My stepfather was a hotelier, and he got casinos up and running. Basically, he was a businessman, and I grew up in really, really privileged spaces. And my mother sent me to a in 1994. It's actually funny that it's youth day and we're talking about this. In 1994, my mom, she sent me to the school called Kloklaneng in Rustenburg, and I was the only Caucasian in that school. So I kind of, from a very young age, saw a lot of differences, you know. And so yeah, I had this like insight into our country, and yeah, always lived with this like contrast and awareness, and moved around a lot because of my father's job. So we moved all over South Africa, so I experienced a lot of different towns and spaces and cultures and social environments. So I saw a full spectrum of our country really growing up, and then went to many different types of schools, so I had to like learn how to like adjust and readjust, and make different connections, make friends, and lose them, you know, get used to losing a lot of people with moving, but it does make you strong and yeah, ready to embrace whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story.
Friends weren't a constant, but I guess your schoolwork was a constant. So, what was your favorite subject in school?
So true. School was a constant, and learning was a constant. So, everything interested me. I really enjoyed learning geography, biology, everything about the natural world and this world that we live in. You know, there's so much to it, so much to learn, and the more you know, the more you know you don't know. So yeah, that kept me going, definitely. Yeah, all subjects except maths though. I was like really bad at maths. Yeah, I failed it a lot. The teacher like baked me a cake when I passed. It was a definitely. Yo, definitely. Writing poems, copying manga and anime. Yeah, I was doing a lot of like cartoon, trying to teach myself. I really wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't get into the art class because it was too full, and then my heart broke. And then I like did everyone else's art homework for them. So I was really I don't know, just engaged with anything that was visual and different, you know. Yeah, that's especially when you're in boarding school. You know, and you're like forced to get up really early and forced to study at a particular time, and you have to feel this way, and you have to be all this way, and you have to have energy to sit in school all day. You know, to get through it. You know, everyone has a way to get through things. So the escapism from arts really, really just made life magic. So yeah, drawing, reading, I read a lot. I was like naturally good at writing and spelling, but history was another thing that was I was really good at writing essays, just the power of words, really making a story come together to make a point. My father wanted me to be a lawyer because I was so good at making up excuses and justifying anything out of anything to get out of trouble. But I didn't want to be a lawyer. That was so intense. So ended up in advertising, which
Wow.
is also a lot of making up of stories
Yeah,
and
yeah.
telling of true stories
Yes,
too.
100%. But before you got into advertising, now, like you just said, you were spending a lot of your time reading, writing, doing stories, and doodling, and all of that. So, were your eyes on TV? Did you catch any um, adverts that stick in your mind till this day?
Nothing tastes like Fresca. Definitely still. Yeah, no, nothing tastes like Fresca. Definitely. I mean, there's so many. I mean, sometimes you suddenly hear yourself singing a song and you don't even know how, because it's just the media is everywhere. So, and you naturally consume it, whether you're aware of it or not. So yeah, but nothing tastes like Fresca definitely stands out. Strong payoff line, well delivered, very cool. South African aesthetic, I remember that. But like in terms of TV, I don't remember, not now, like off the bat, but nothing tastes like Fresca is always, comes to mind after sipping something.
That's dope. Now, issue, thank you. Now, actually, entering after school, how did you decide what you were gonna study and how you were gonna make your way to whatever the goal was in a young Zia's mind? What was the plan?
Yo, there were, oh, PK, there was no plan. Hey, because like the escapism from school and dreaming big. I lived in this like dream world, so I had too many dreams to deal with. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to try everything, experience everything that one possibly could. So I had like these illusions that I could do absolutely everything, but that kind of drove me to try new things and experience new things and learn and grow, So yeah, dreaming is necessary. So I didn't have a plan, that being said, I was just going with the flow, so to speak, but the pressure was like on, and this is anyway, I want to stop myself from going deep into
This is a safe space. This is a safe space. This is your space.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Um, yeah, no, I just think it's one of the stresses of this capitalist system that we live in. Where you are 18 and you have this pressure. You're this young child. You haven't discovered the world. You haven't experienced the world, and you have this extreme pressure to succeed and know what you want to do and know the path, and this is the path, and there's only one path. It was very stressful. I think, and it is with anyone, yeah, trying to decide what to do with this life and how. So I just studied business management. I thought would be an antidote to learn the ways of how everything works in terms of business, because I had no idea. And so I thought I would just learn the thing I hated the most,
Wow,
to be honest.
that's powerful.
I not hate, but yeah, just something that made me very uncomfortable and scared,
You decided to tackle it head first.
head on. That is the way to tackle anything, any fear, just head on. If it's uncomfortable, you're growing. Definitely. That is proven. I will stand by that forever. If you feel uncomfortable, you're definitely growing. So I had to do that. Also because I think I was a bit detached from reality, to be honest, living in this like dream poetic drawing world. Yeah, so I had to get in touch. And to be honest, it came in handy because I learned in this business management course at Varsity College. I learned how to market myself, how to create a business out of anything, how to see a demand or a need, and then how to come up for the solution, the best creative solution for that demand or need or challenge or problem. So I think that's where the business type came in, for the advertising. Business management really helps with advertising. And it was all cool. Learned a lot, loved it. Did really well because I like winning. I think it's a very good trait to have in life if you need to survive. And competition. I like winning. I like competition. It's good, but it can get destructive and a bit. Anyway, it's another capitalist conversation.
But then after business management, how did you find advertising? I know that, or was it you walking into your internship at DML, or was there a step before?
Yes.
Was that?
Okay, definitely.
Cool. Let's hear about that experience.
Okay, sure. Sorry, there's just there's so much to talk about at any given moment. Okay, so I studied business management, and then it got to the financial graphs, and I was freaked out because I'm not good at maths at all. Although that is just something I told myself. I had a very bad relationship with it, so I kind of grew strong in anything else. I just invested my time and strength at practicing anything else, being good at anything else that wasn't maths, please. And when the financial graphs scared me, I thought, can one swear on this podcast?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Okay. I thought, shit, there's no way I'm doing this. So put a portfolio together and just drew some things. I've Googled how to create a portfolio, a little bit of every type of illustration style, a little bit of every type of media format, and put it together, sent it to Varsity College and got accepted. I had to convince my father to help me transfer from business management to visual communication, and successfully convinced him because I like to get my way and I like to win. And I'm very good at making up stories. So thankfully, I had the support from him and studied visual communication, which comprised of art theory and design theory, illustration, photography, film theory, comics. At Open Window. That being said, one does not have to go to an institution to learn how to be. How to excel at any craft. Thankfully, we are in the information age, and when there's a will, there's a way. And when you put it out there, what you want to be and what you want to do, the universe brings you what you need to.
I've never agreed with anything more because I believe in putting out the energy and putting in the work behind it in order to make it happen. Because the energies and the cosmos will not work for you if you do not put the work in.
Totally agree. Yeah. You got to work. It's the universe will work with you. You have to put in there. Definitely where energy and time goes, things grow. That totally just came to mind. So and then studied business management and loved it. Learned so much. All the subjects I just mentioned are but a few in the creative world. I mean, any body of knowledge is fascinating, and it came to a point where it got a bit expensive to afford, and I felt a bit bad putting this pressure on my dad. So I also felt just the burn of the need for independence and to survive on my own. And so I thought, well, I've got to do this. So by chance and by luck and by happenstance, someone mentioned an internship at Native VML and gave me the email address. And I thought, this is my ticket. Oh my God, I have to do this. There's no other way. Eagle eye focus. I put together this like CV portfolio. I didn't even know how I was using the programs. I was just clicking, putting things together, put my heart and soul into this CV or application form of a sense. In a sense, it's not like, it wasn't a traditional CV. It was just like a message, like a vintage message with SOS written on it, Morse code, and then they had to like figure out how to read it by using Morse code. And it said, save my soul, literally, please give me a job. And got an interview.
Just gotta get your way into the door, and you got their attention.
Yes, got their attention. And I think that's why, because I had, I didn't have my certificates. I really had to prove myself. And I knew there were quite a good advertising establishment. And yeah, if you want to get your foot in any door, and like with any business or with anything you're doing or selling on earth, you need to differentiate yourself and you need to stand out. So that's all I had. So it's all you got. All you got is yourself, is your unique imprints, your unique expression, your unique point of view on life. That's all you got. So, and it's worth a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So once you actually secured the interview, what was that like? Is there a special story there? What was that like? Were you late for it? Did something happen? Did you get a stain on your shirt or something like that?
I love this podcast. It's so cool. Yes. Okay. Typical interview. Okay. I was very nervous. I made sure I was on time. I was there like an hour before. There's no way I was missing this chance. Like, I was here for this. Thank you, universe. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm over delivering every step of the way from the second going forward. Like, I was so grateful. And then, I don't know. He's like, just asked about what I studied, what I knew, what am I interested in, what do I think of myself, what are my skills that I think I have, and answered those all, putting my best foot forward. And then he asked me, what do I know about advertising? And I knew nothing. And I just remembered that I'd been watching Mad Men for like the past few months. And I just said, Mad Men. And he loved Mad Men and whiskey. And and he was like, okay, I think he appreciated the honesty. And I think that caught their attention, and there we go. And then I started and kind of work shadowed in each department. So strategy, SEO, client service, creative, all the little departments that make up an agency or a studio, and was in love with all of them. Because I'm like a nerd, actually. I'm a nerd. Super nerd. And
Manga and anime and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Books. I just had a memory. I was like reading Harry Potter in class, like a nerd. Anyway, so and then chose creative because creative is awesome. It is awesome to feel that you are this like conduit for information and magic, and you can create change and impact people's thoughts and behaviors and emotions by putting together a piece of work or a story I just thought, wow, this is power, absolute power. I feel like things are happening and you can actually create change in the world, because I was also like a bit of a hippie. Like, I thought I would save the world as a child growing up. But I got a bit despondent. I thought, wow, it's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work. Anyway, so
For a child, I hope we weren't walking around with the world's stresses on your shoulders as a child.
your PK, since like first project on pollution, I was so touched. I could see the distraction in the world. I was just a sensitive child, you know. I think because of my mom, and you know, she just taught me to have a connection with nature and animals, and it never died. So that responsibility of protecting the earth and everything that is good still stuck with me, and it never will leave, because we are all responsible for what happens on this earth and each other and the environment and absolutely everything. And I have been trying to merge that responsibility with the power of communication in advertising since, and trying it out and experimenting with it, and hoping, maybe being a bit idealistic, to many naysayers and many cynics, who just have never understood, like, why are you in advertising, but you believe so strongly, you know, about all these things, the environment and looking after the planet and people. And I don't know, I just carried on with this inquiry, you know, this internal inquiry, using the modality of communication and advertising.
So your intern, you walked around all over the agency doing as you please for I don't know how long it was, and then you got to choose. You made your choice, and how was that? What were some of the first things you got up to? I know you say you were shadowing somebody. Who were you shadowing, and what were some of the things you got up to as an intern? Because me as an intern, I carried boxes, I filed this, I counted inventory, all of that stuff. What did you get up to?
You're okay. You know, the strongest memory that comes to mind, is shadowing Mahesh Singh. He is the, in my opinion, even then, he was the best SEO specialist in the country. He was so good. He was so good at keyword search and getting brands to like #1 on Google. That was like his thing. And I really, really loved you know, the little corner of his smile. Like, he had this like naughty smile, because I could see he got a kick out of it. He really, really, really loved uplifting businesses and brands and getting them, you know, views. And that's what interested me, is the reasons behind people did what they did in digital. So yes, Mahesh Singh, I shadowed him, and he taught me his tricks and his ways, which I will not share online now, because it is. I think that it's his to share. Maybe he could be your next podcast, actually, your
Hopefully,
next interview.
hopefully.
Yeah, cool. I'll connect you
Yeah,
guys.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so shadowed him.
And also, sorry, just to clear up, my internship was not as bad as I made it sound, Zia. I also learned quite a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about social media, and that's when I chose social media. But I also carried boxes and was in a dark room for a week counting stock. But I digress. Go ahead, Zia.
I'm so glad you said that, though, because during the internship, you do anything, man. You do whatever you need to do. If they anything, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you don't know how, and if you've never done it before, you just say yes. Yes, I can. And you find the way along the way. And thank God there's Google, because you can Google whatever you need to know. Yes.
Exactly.
So yes. And you said choice. That I love that. You came to a point where you had the power to choose, and that's what you work your way towards. You do anything and everything. You try everything. You learn, and you just come to this place where you recognize your own abilities and powers, and you get to decide what you want to do with your story. So yes, I
Was that your
shadowed.
fiance at the back there? So the people who are
Yes. Oh my
listening and not
God.
watching on YouTube, that was Zia's fiance in the back. Go ahead.
Yeah, um yeah, you caught us at home, you know, rainy day.
All good.
Yeah, I shadowed Hanna Gordon. She was the creative director at Native VML at the time. She is an amazing leader in the advertising industry. She has always been for nurturing creatives, which I respect her deeply for. Learned a lot from her. I learned a lot about the emotional aspects behind doing business and corporate, the person, the people behind the business. It mattered to me because I always imagined business and corporate to be like this vacuous engine, but it's really the people that make it. So that's what hooked me into advertising, because I was just trying it out. How I forced myself to learn business, I forced myself to do advertising, know thy enemy, and then fell in love because of the people. So yes, so Hanna Gordon definitely, I remember, and I was paired with a copywriter, Neil. He's a successful copywriter. I don't know where he is now, but I think he's at Grey. And yeah, we got put in briefs and we became very, very close as a team. We worked hard and we always tried our best. Brainstorming, ideation, that really got me stuck in advertising. The ideation process and the creative process, fell in love with that. It was exciting and stimulating. The power of possibility and creation was an antidote to my depression at the time, and still is. I use creativity to, stay inspired, and yeah, that's it. It just ended up there. So
I mean, we all need an outlet of some sort. Your outlet happens to be your work as well, so you can jump right into it whenever you want to.
definitely, yeah. I'm really grateful. For work. I did use it as an outlet, especially when it's an expressive, creative one. Like the creative parts of advertising. Well, actually, I mean, I don't mean to get like super philosophical now, but like any action is a form of creation. But yeah, specifically in advertising, the creative process is one that I hold dear and fight for in advertising, because there's a lot of agencies who inhibit the creative process. A lot of people who don't understand how to create safe spaces for people to explore their creativity and grow. For example, one thing that could damage the creative process is saying no, and raising your eyebrows and having eyes of doubt whilst people are expressing themselves. So that's something that I avoid, and encourage people and motivate people to believe in their ideas and believe in themselves, really. So yeah, that's a learning that has, yeah,
Oh,
that's just what I have to say about that.
yeah, dope. So like those are your formative years in the advertising industry, learning the rules, learning the ropes, learning all the fundamentals, and eventually you work your way up and you find yourself as a creative director now at Mark One Media, right? How at first Yeah, first I want to know what's the level jump, or what's the difference between an arts director and a creative director for the people out there? What is really the difference there?
100%. Okay, cool. Okay, so an art director does one of the, well, okay, an art director is the same as a creative director, in my opinion. It's just experience and level of superiority that is formed by the time you've put in and the work you've put in and the portfolio that you've built. Yeah, you're only as good as your last piece of work. That definitely is true. The difference between an art director and a creative director is that I suppose a creative director just has final ruling, final say over what happens to the creative. The art director puts in the work, creates it accordingly, creates the work accordingly, but the creative director is the final judge, final word.
So
Yeah,
to
that's the only
any,
difference. Otherwise, yeah.
yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Otherwise, it's the same. The process is the same. Research, brainstorming and ideation, execution, prototype, and first draft, first review, presentation, selling, and making it happen.
Dope, dope, dope. So now for somebody who's watching or listening and they say, one day I want to be a creative director, where do you think they should start? Now everybody's journey will be different. I understand that, but where do they start?
Start with a strategy, definitely. Always a plan. You can have any recipe. There are many ways to climb a mountain, but have a strategy based on research and insight. So do your research. What market do you want to be involved in? What industry do you want to be involved in? And have a vision of your end results in mind whilst you're doing the research, because then you'll know what you need to know. Learn your craft, learn your trade, honor your craft, honor your trade, know what your competitors are doing, practice, get better, be your own loving guide and critic, and hustle hard and never say no to an opportunity, and honor every opportunity,
On
because
every opportunity.
opportunities, yeah, and
I love that.
opportunities make opportunities.
There you go. There you go, right there. What are some of the? I know you've worked at a number of agencies before you landed where you are now, Mark One Media. Um, Lots of different sizes of agencies and agencies focused on digital only to through the line agencies. What is one of the? You don't have to say, but what is one of the experiences or one of the agencies that's kind of had a lasting experience, except for native VML, because that's where I guess you found your feet.
Yes, definitely. The Native VML gave me the traditional, even though it was a digital agency in the time digital started booming, it gave me the structure, the very good structure and a very good foundation. So if you have the chance to give yourself that, I highly recommend. Yeah. Sure. So many memories are coming back. Sorry, man. So yeah. When I left Native, I personally. So yeah, this is a bit of an emotional thing. Like, at the time, I did not have confidence in my craft. I felt a bit like a hypocrite, being an art director, art directing designers who were experienced designers who had completed their their courses, their certificates, and I hadn't completed it. I left and just started working, but I still had this like insecurity. So I felt like a bit of a hypocrite, and I thought, shit, I have to, teach myself how to be better, and kind of like earn my own badge, I suppose, to feel like I have the right to art direct. But that being said, that is insecurity, and that holds you back, that type of thinking. So looking back, it wasn't necessary. It just forced me to go on this journey, which I started. So when I left Native VML, I was like, okay, I'm gonna work for the startup and teach myself how to be a really good designer. And I worked on my craft, and I took on all these new creative projects, and I was very open to learning, and I worked very hard, learning every day. I asked people to be my mentors. I followed what I perceived to be the greats at the time, in our country. So I had a huge journey ahead of myself. I had a lot of expectations for myself. So yeah. That being said, I did improve on my craft, and went after the startup. It the startup like never started up because it was run by this person who wasn't really good at managing finances and their clients, and that impacted everyone in the agency. You learn as you go, and you learn how to protect yourself. Always sign a contract and read it properly. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So the startup experience kind of gave you a different element of how to move and how to be seen in the industry and how to protect yourself, basically.
Yes, hard lesson to learn, really. I mean, I didn't get paid too many times, which should never happen. It should never happen. I think globally, just paying culture in the industry is something that really needs to be worked on, and where we can, we need to, stand up for creatives who aren't being paid or treated, and that's the whole other discussion for treated correctly. It did. I went from this like really nice art director role where briefs would come in and I come up with conceptual solutions, but I wasn't doing like the design craft work, and I needed to work on that. So I worked on that at the startup. That fell through, hard knock. I just applied to like so many different agencies, and the first one that accepted my application, I went for. It was a medium-sized agency. They focused on print, so I was digitally trained, but had to learn print, and I was open to it. At that time, I had such like high ambitions. I was like, oh my God, I'm not just going to be like one creative. I'm going to be like a multifaceted creative that can do like everything. Don't limit yourself. I didn't want to limit myself because I knew the industry was so competitive. And you just have to know as much as you can. Arm yourself with knowledge. Arm yourself with skills, because it is a very competitive industry. So yes, cool. Digital was booming, but had to learn print. Didn't do too well in the beginning, because I was still learning, to improve my craft. But you learn, and it's through practice and through the grace of our superiors and guides and creative directors, who teach us their distilled wisdom from their experience and time. So I'm very grateful for all my previous creative directors and seniors. They, in a sense, made me.
Yes, because you were on the cutting room floor, in the studio. The long hours. About the deadlines. I really hate that word, but deadlines is something that we live under in this industry. But
Why dead?
Why does it have to be deadline? Let's live and still
Life.
the workout, okay? But yeah, my point is, you've been through it. You're on the cutting room floor. You've been through it. You've known it's been Friday, 5 o'clock is hit, but you're not going anywhere. So how does that bring it back to you now as a creative director, and obviously knowing how to treat people? You're obviously a real nice person, but like, how does that influence how you operate as a creative director to your team?
Oh wow, your questions are like amazing. I'm really trying my best to answer them as best as I can. How are you asking how my creative directors have impacted how I treat my team now as a creative director?
Yes.
Awesome. Each creative director from each agency in the 10 years of this journey, that we're only in like the first few years of the CV, so much time has gone past. Every creative director, just by who they are, like their natural intrinsic being, reflects in how they manage team and how they approach work and how they approach the world at large, how any challenge, just who they are. I took something away from, it's very important to me, the makeup of people and what people stand for and believe in, the why, the reason for doing everything, the purpose behind everything. So just to name a few, like what comes to mind, Aldo. Remember Aldo?
I'll do, yeah.
Yes, senior designer Joe Public when we were together. Joe
Yeah.
Public.
He used to stand,
For him,
he used to work standing up. He had a standing desk.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. Oh, like genius, because you're sitting all day takes its toll. But yes, for example, so Aldo, like the impact he had as my senior. You know, I was very stressed on this one project, and I was taking a long time to do it. You know, I just couldn't get in the creative flow. You know, I had some personal things going on, and obviously in advertising, like you said, deadline is deadline. Things have to happen. You know, no matter what, the work must be done. And yeah, with that mindset, you know, it's very difficult to, you know, feel or be or allow for whatever's happening in your personal life, you know, to affect the work. But that being said, I'll do, you know, held space for me in that time. He protected me from client service and the project managers and clients. He said, we're going to need a bit more time. And then he just the way he approached, he just guided me, you know, he just said, hey, like, you know, have fun with it. Just have fun with it. And I totally forgot. I forgot about that because we're so serious. We just go, 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 deliver, 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 be the best, make a Cannes award-winning project out of this in 10 minutes, you know, like that pressure, that creative pressure really can become debilitating to the work. So, for example, I'll do good person, natural nurturer, just guided me and held space. And that is part of who he is, you know, and that's what makes him a leader to me, for example. Yeah.
That's dope. We always have to take take a little bit from each person that we meet. Hopefully it's something positive because energy is easily transferred. But hopefully we could take something positive from each other. I hope you guys are taking something positive from this episode. This is episode 7 with Zia Van Lux. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back from A to Z.
From A to Z, it's plain to see. This podcast is about people in my industry, writers, designers.
Yeah, we are back with Zia Van Lux, creative director at Mark One Media. I have a question for you. Me, myself, I didn't study art at all. I didn't do any semesters of it. I don't know too much. But I want to know from you, when you see a beautiful piece of art, say you look at the Mona Lisa, do you see it using the Fibonacci sequence, or do you see it like a regular person like me? Or let's say a Nelson Makamo. Let's bring it back to South Africa. Do you see the Fibonacci sequence, or do you just see the beauty of it, like I would? Obviously, the Fibonacci sequence has its beauty inside of it, but how do you see things?
Wow. I mean, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, PK. I do not see the Fibonacci sequence in everything. I mean, it's naturally in everything, right? I love the Fibonacci sequence. Oh my gosh. But yeah, when I see a piece of art, I guess, okay, you know, after engaging visually and emotionally with creative work for so long, in any mode or expression, any form of expression, when you open yourself up to it and it becomes part of your life and your story and your purpose, I think you are not separate from it. And I kind of experience like every piece of artful expression for what it is. And I always look for the deeper meaning, because there should always be a deeper meaning. Otherwise, what are you doing with your art?
Nah, I feel you. That's the thing. I just wanted to ask that question because I knew it was going to be a little bit difficult. Because while you just want to look at it and be like, wow, that's beautiful, but you are kind of wired in a way where you're like, nah, man, there's a lot more into this. Why is this hue like this? Why is that shadow like that? That line work, that and that. When me, PK Mukweni, host of the From A to Z podcast, I see a picture, I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. Cool, yeah, I like the shading here and there, but I can't tell you about too much more about that. But I really admire that about about artistic people like yourself.
Everyone is an artistic person, I believe. Everyone is an artistic person. There are just rules that need to be learned, whether you're learning like to be an artist, whether you're learning to be a designer or a musician or a creative director or a film director. You know, you just got to learn the rules. Yeah. So Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
That's all good. In terms of your, yeah, I want to talk about your art. Now you make some awesome mixed media art. Please talk to us a bit about your art and your style and your inspiration.
Cool. So we're getting into the art. Okay. Um,
Yes,
I
yes, your art. You'll be getting into your art, not the brands anymore. You know.
no more brands. Cool. That is why I do the art. Because commercial arts can get a bit too commercial, so you need to find an antidote. Yeah, the counterculture to anything is always very interesting. So this is the thing with mixed media art, especially online and on Instagram. If you just check the hashtag mixed media, you will fall in love with the magic that comes with taking different elements and different subjects and different pieces from different images and different spaces and time, because that's the power of a single image. It encapsulates a time and a place and meaning, and us as people who engage with content online, everyone has a visual eye. We have this inherent like understanding of like the time and place of aesthetics and textures and colors. And this is the thing with mixed media, is you can take like a picture printed in like the 40s, and then you can mix it with like a picture taken yesterday, and somehow it will create something new. And it just can't be explained in words. Language is futile with artistic expression, but that is the magic of it, because like they say, the picture says 1,000 words, a million, an infinite amount of words. So that's what I love about mixed media, is that you can take the story from a specific time and place, and you can mix up the meaning and create like a whole new story. Yeah, and that's what I do. I take like vintage illustrations created through the colonial male gaze, and I remix it to give it new meaning.
Now let's talk a bit about your time in Hungary, right? You traveled. It was actually like, I mean, I had seen you like 1 month and then you were gone the next month, kind of thing. I feel like, and then you were traveling, enjoying yourself, getting tattoos, traveling, just enjoying the vibe. Please tell us, and you were also working there. Please tell us a bit about that trip. Was it all fun and games, tourist time? You happened to get a job, and you stayed for a bit. What happened there?
Yes. Okay. Always working. Even though I was traveling, I was working. I fell in love with the whole digital nomad thing that was happening. I didn't like the idea of being stuck in the office the whole of my 20s and never traveling, so I saved money and just did it, ripped off the Band-Aid and I just randomly chose Budapest in Hungary. I was still working for this agency remotely, and I thought, okay, cool, I can move around physically and explore the world whilst working. How amazing. And we can still do that within the COVID restrictions or not, depends what's happening for the day. But yeah, so really loved that idea and went for it. Thankfully, in the advertising industry, if you have a portfolio of work and you know how to sell yourself, you are able to find a job anywhere and find your right fit. So again, very grateful for that. So yes, used this job to traveled. The second I landed in Budapest, this agency ran out of money and retrenched everyone. And I had to find a job like really quickly in Budapest, and sent my CV everywhere, and well, sent it to Possible. Actually, I always wanted to work for Possible agency, and I got an interview. They're probably thinking, why is the South African applying? This is interesting. And obviously with ad agencies, diversity is key. So I think that's what got my foot in the door there. And yeah, it was awesome. I was senior experienced designer, worked on some cool projects like Red Bull, learned the Hungarian way of doing things, which is not so different. so yeah, hustled. I worked hard. You obviously have to keep proving yourself every day as a creative, no matter what office or space you're in. Again, you're only as good as your last piece of work. So yeah, worked hard, grew immensely, because you have no choice. The option is not a failure. You just have to create, and you have to make magic, and you have to nail the brief. And I love that daily creative expectation. That's what keeps me going. So, and it's what kept me going in Hungary, in this foreign, scary, super cold country. Yeah. And then I kind of, how do I say? I don't know. I started freelancing. I started freelancing after Puzzle, because I just wasn't happy there. Nothing against the agency or the people, anything. I just wasn't happy. I felt a bit boxed in this like senior experience designer role. It was a very specific thing, just working on a limited type of projects, and I need to do something new every day. So I just did freelancing and put myself out there, got a whole lot of different jobs. It was very scary, and I didn't make as much money, but I did learn how to be strong and independent as a freelancer. And then COVID happened. And then we all know what happened since then.
So you were there when COVID hit, and then you had to kind of decide to come back, or what happened there?
Yeah, COVID happened, and it was the very scary time. Everyone was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And I had to decide whether to stay or come back home, and the calling to come back home was very strong. Home, man. It will never leave you. So I thought, okay, well, if this is going down, whatever's going down with COVID and the world, I need to be at home. I need to be with my family and people. Came back and started again from scratch. Kept freelancing, doing any type of project, anything that came my way, and was trying to find another agency to stay with, for a long time and grow with, because my CV, I've been everywhere. I've been jumping around from agency to agency for different reasons. Yeah. But yes, came back and tried to start over. So yeah. So that was that story.
So once you got back, I guess you say you were trying to find your way again, and obviously pay your bills or whatever. So how did Mark One Media happen? And when you accepted the creative director role, how was that like? Like, okay, cool, I'm a creative director now.
You're gonna love the story, man. It's so, oh my gosh. Okay, PK, like, to be honest, because I can only be honest, and yeah, I actually, whilst I was freelancing, I ended up working for this agency. Can't mention any names, but just there wasn't a good working fit, and I was really, how do I say, very important. The interview process was not complete. This guy gave me the illusion of partnership, equal creative partnership in the projects. And when I started, I turned out to be like a sweatshop, like 9 to 5, making as many usable digital documents as possible so that this guy could like make money. And I just was absolutely shocked, and I was put in a box. And it really broke me. And this guy did not treat me or respect me as a creative at all. A lot of work, was expected in a short amount of time. This is, the advertising industry, and like things happen fast, things move fast, but it was ridiculous. I got exhausted, I got burnout, I got fatigue. And he broke me down emotionally, like my morale and my spirit, and yeah, I did so badly there because of this environment, because of the expectations, the different expectations that we had, and I got fired by this guy. He fired me basically.
Let's talk about it. Let's hear it. Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, what? Excuse me? You are firing me? Do you even know who I am? Like, my ego is just completely shattered. Yeah, no, different expectations. He wanted to be a specific type of designer that like just churns out creative work at a fast pace, and I'm more conceptual, and I'm really strong with doing any type of campaign, any type of work that needs to be done, but not in 3 hours or not in an hour. Let's be reasonable, with timing. So that really killed me. Plus I had burnout and fatigue, which was really holding me back. So yeah, and he was a bit anal, to be honest. Just being honest. Yeah, and he had a lot of designers leave and everything. So it wasn't a good environment. So again, I say the environment you create creates good creative. So that was a hard knock, and I had to recover that from that financially. So I started freelancing again, and decided this time when I'm joining an agency, I am going to make sure that I find people I align with and resonate with, and we have the same creative process in mind. We have the same belief about turnaround time, and we have the same beliefs about creative. We have the same beliefs about everything. It's really important. These are really important conversations that you need to have to protect yourself as a creative. Because when you grow up in advertising, when you grow up, you become a yes man. Like, yes, I can do anything. I will do anything for anyone, but it makes you subservient and open to being exploited. So
Zia, I really want to know, if not for advertising, what would you be doing? What do you think you'd be doing? Would you be on like a whale ship fighting whalers or something like that?
I tried, but they ask for money. Why? I don't have money to volunteer. Anyway, that is a serious barrier to activism entry. Anyway, I would be on a whale ship stopping whaling. I would.
I believe that's why I said that. That's exactly why I said that. I see the vision.
Oh man, yeah, but because I'm not and I can't, I use every brief and creative opportunity to create real good change, and that's how I do my activism. Just integrate it into your everyday. So yeah, I would be on a whale ship. I might have been a farmer. I really, really love the magic of growing plants and the magic of plants and nature, and being connected to nature. Digital and the technological age that we are in just further disconnects us from nature, which is what we are. And yes, I hope to build that connection further in my life. That being said, yes, I'd be a farmer. I'd be an activist, man. Damn, I'd be everywhere. Stopping all the distraction.
Like you said in the beginning, it is June 16, day commemorating the sacrifices made by the youth in 1976. What are some of the sacrifices we are making as youth today in 2021?
What sacrifices are we making as youth?
Yes. What do you make? What sacrifices do you feel like you are making as a youth to obviously make it better? You said that you have to, be responsible and create positive things so that positive things can be out there. But you personally, what fights do you feel like we are fighting as young people? Is it the fight to be individuals? Is it the fight to be heard? What do you think it is?
Yes. We are fighting a very exploitative system that runs it runs off exploiting people and classism. We are fighting as youth. I think we are fighting heteronormative capitalist patriarchy. We are fighting whiteness. We are fighting colonization and neo-colonization. We need to unlearn this. White people need to seriously unlearn this, and this is the biggest beast we are facing. This is like the core of the destruction in the capitalist system. This is the biggest challenge humanity has ever faced. Like, if anything needs to be reimagined and broken down, it definitely is heteronormative, westernized patriarchy. This is the reason for all the destruction and suffering in the world, and we have the power to change it if we are aware and open to action and change. Yeah.
And in the next 5 years, Zia, what are some of the things you think you wanna, achieve, or you wanna go for, or you wanna see happen for you and around you? What are you looking forward to in the next 5 years?
I'm looking forward to manifesting some form of communication that will reignite the power of connection and unity in people, and the proletariat, the power of socialism and community, bringing that together so that we can all fight what we need to fight.
Yeah. Do you have any final words for the From A to Z listeners, whether they're listening on Apple, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Player FM, whether they're watching this on YouTube? Do you have any final words for them? Anybody who's maybe aspiring to get into advertising? Anything you want to leave them with?
Yes, definitely. It's a competitive world. It's a competitive industry. Never forget the power of your individuality. Never forget the power of your individuality. I think and protect yourself. Protect yourself as a creative. Yeah. Underline, full stop, neon.
I really like that. Protect yourself as a creative and go for whatever you want to go for, guys. Okay?
Yes.
You feel me? This is episode 7 of the From A to Z podcast. If you were watching from the beginning, you remember I said, this is a ship. It's not a boat. It is a large ship embarking onto the open oceans full of positivity. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Zia, creative director at Mark One Media. Check out her Instagram. Super dope mixed media art. She's a lover, not a fighter, except for if it's a good cause. Thank you so much, Zia, for joining me.
Thank you so much. I love what you're doing.
I really appreciate it, Zia. Much success. I really appreciate it.
From
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
It's plain to see. This podcast is about people in my industry. Writers, designers, social media managers. Don't forget the data.